Hi, everyone. Let's talk about Ring of Honor from July 21st. Let's talk about this, which was a fun show. Let's talk about it, guys. So, we begin the night's action, where it's always been at Jacksonville, and a recap of how Many Man Oro has earned his shot at Leo Rush and Ring of Honor World Television title, and it opens the show, which was a great match. I'm telling you, I love Leo Rush's run with this Ring of Honor Television title. He's doing great work with this Black Heart gimmick. I just love it, man. Love it, love it. Sorry, too much hype, too much hype on that. So Rush, Leo Rush, which a lot of people, say Rush, Leo Rush. So you got Leo Rush ascends to hand over his all black world television title to the ref, and Sicily does so as this opening bout that got underway, and Leo Rush Sicily over ascends the code of honor handshake and got a slap for from Oro as a result. Per, this permits Leo Rush to respond by choking Oro. Twist lock by Oro lands a kick from Leo Rush, followed by the clothesline, and Oro runs out of the ring with a freaking out, freaking out impression on his face due to Leo Rush essentially on Oro took Leo Rush customly Ring of Honor television title and used it as a distraction to nail him with a pair of stress kicks, and Oro tries to kick from the corner, but Leo Rush strikes him. I was thinking Leo Rush strikes him with a chomp to the chest, and Oro responds as he puts Leo Rush on the top rope and looks for a duplex, and Leo Rush bites an Oro hand, but he got hit with the wall walker moonsault pillow kick from Oro, and Oro blasts the spine of Leo Rush with a kick to the back as he follows that with a very hard Irish whip to the corner, and Oro mocks Leo Rush for a bit as he lifts him up for a recent razor's edge, and Leo Rush escapes as he and Oro enchains a battle of chomps, and Leo Rush momentum was stood by a Copserit's kick from Earl as both men were left down on the mat, and both Leo Rush and Earl got to their feet as the television champion nails his sinister basement springboard stunner for a near fall, which that was amazing from Leo Rush. I love his work, like I said again, guys. And Leo Rush hits an incredible slings kick afterwards as if since Earl tresses kicks and couldn't offense Earl and pops up Pell's kicks for a close 2 count, and Leo Rush once more bit at Earl's head, which left him open for the stunner, and double heel kick by Leo Rush hits Earl down with the outside beast. Hope by Leo Rush leads to the suicide dive back in the ring, and Leo Rush puts Earl away with the Black Thunder to end this, and that's how he won with a Black Thunder, and that's how Leo Rush defeated Earl in that match, which was fun, guys. And then after the match, Action Andretti attacks Leo Rush as he chokes his former friend out. Then we had Alan Angel fences Brian Keith. Let's talk about it, guys. Brian Keith fences Alan Angels. Let's talk about it. Alan Angels fences Brian Keith. Brian Keith takes out his poncho and throws it at Angel to get an early blindside attack in as the bell ring, and Brian Keith continues the attack with chops to the chest and followed by the exploder suplex as Alan Angels struggles to his feet, and BK, known as Brian Keith, essentially there's relents onto Slintz with a pair of chops, however, and Angel blocks Brian Keith's suplex ascents and fought back with some strikes of his own, and he lands on his feet on a Basint's Brian Keith back suplex as he bounces off the ropes and follows up Brian Keith for a near fall, and Alan Angel slits off the top rope for a crossbody for another 2 count and into the corner, Alan Angels attacks Brian Keith with a chomp to the chest and tries to go up top, and Brian Keith strips him up, which leaves Alan Angels open for a Tiger Driver backbreaker for a 2 count, and Brian Keith puts Angels in the corner with a kick as he then chokes him with his feet, and then Alan Angels was still onto the back foot as Brian Keith takes a metal stool approach to his offense, and then another exploder suplex by Keith, but Angels managed to kicks out once more and turns around was fair played as Angel used the poncho to his advantage to catch Brian Keith off guard with a drop kick, and Angels was on fire with a knee with a nice single leg drop and flattens Brian Keith, and Angel ascends a Brian Keith clothesline with a cinch dodge as he caught his first and resents ring of Saturn, and Keith uses his foot to break the Ascent's hold on the apron, and Brian Keith had Angels in an Ascent's position to put the later escape with an Inzanari. The Ascent's a cannonball drive by Angels was a big swing, and a miss as Keith got out of the way with Angels all the worse for where, and Brian Keith calls his shot, and a cinch slap from Angels was met with a hard knee to the face by Brian Keith. I'll repeat it again: a hard knee to the face from Brian Keith, and a cinch Tiger Driver by Brian Keith to put this one in the books, and that's how Brian Keith defeated Alan Angels. Then we had a women's match, which was really decent, guys, with Becca. So, yes, guys, Becca and Billy Starks. Let's talk about it. Becca faces Billy Starks, and Billy Starks pushes Becca into the ropes and gives her a slap into the face, and Becca escapes Billy Starks' twist lock and fought back with a shotgun drop kick to the corner, and Billy Starks essentially hits back with a drop kick and falls by a backbreaker into a face slam into the corner, and Billy Starks punches away at Becca in the corner, then taunts the Jacksonville crowd with Becca down on the mat. She was choked on the bottom rope by the boot of Billy Starks, and Billy Starks trash talks one too many times and got hit with some strikes from Becca that did very little as Billy Starks holds the advantage again, and Becca admits and blocks a Billy Starks suplex was met with some punches, and Becca tries again with the strikes as she now has the advantage in the corner, and a burst of running attacks by Becca and appears to turn the tide, but Billy Starks interrupts her full at the top rope, and Billy Starks I'll say it again. Billy Starks lifts her up for a sense insurgence for a near fall, and Yushi Gorishi for a near fall, and Billy Starks yells at the ref, but it was opened her up to Becca pellet kick, and Becca slowly got up to the top rope, but Billy Starks again caught her, and Billy Starks' high-risk ascent was turned into a throw to the mat by Becca onto the mat and stuff back and forth. Really good stuff. To the mat by Becca, onto the ropes. Becca misses with the 450 splash, and this leaves her at the mercy at Billy Starks' face first slam for the 3, and that's how Billy Starks defeated Becca. Then we had a backstage Adam Brooks. I love this guy. Adam Brooks. He had a great match with Will Ospreay that other week, and that was really good. That was really good stuff on Collision. But anyways, guys, let's carry on. We got a remarks from Adam Brooks, who promised to dominate Ring of Honor after showing his stuff on Collision against Will Ospreay. Then we had premier athletes Art Davari and Tony Nese versus the Dark Order, Alex Rentals and Evil Uno, and Inzanari got this match going for their respective teams, and Ari Davari went for a side headlock but got taken down easily by an Evil Uno shoulder block, and Tony Nese kicks at Evil Uno's back to slowly the momentum as it led to all 4 men in the ring and Tony Nese was left essentially by the Dark Order, who got him with a nice drop double team effect. And Evil Uno bites at the arm of Tony Nese, but the throat trust thing changes things fast, and the athletes double team Evil Uno with punches in the corner, but they got taken from a sense knocker by Evil Uno not long after. Alex Rentals enters the fray and hits Tony Nese with the dive by dropkick big lariat by Alex Rentals on Evil Uno. Got only two, and Alex Rentals betters Tony Nese with repeatedly elbow strikes, followed by a big running elbow attack that sends him down to the ground as Alex Rentals heads to the top rope, and Beef appears on the stage, which allows the premier athletes to get the advantage on Alex Rentals, and tags to Ari Daivari, who hits Alex Rentals with an axe handle to the rib, and then a chin lock by Ari Daivari, was essentially with great pressure but not good enough as Alex Rentals attempts to escape, and then Ari Daivari chokes Alex Rentals across the middle rope as Mark Sterling attacks him behind the ref's back. Then Beef got into an argument with Ari Daivari at ringside, which allows Alex Rentals to hit him with the Inzanari, and Tony Nese enters the match and misses with the moonsault, which finally got Alex Rentals the opportunity to get the hot tag through Evil Uno. Then the Mystery Wrestling Mastermind was on fire with French trade clotheslines to Ari Daivari and Tony Nese across opposite corners, and this big boot by Evil Uno to both men led to a double team DDT. Both men led to a double DDT. I'll say it again, with a double DDT, and Alex Rentals tags in as the Dark Order was in full effect with double team clotheslines and slams and splashes, and Tony Nese breaks out the cinch count and throws Evil Uno out of the ring, and Ari Daivari and Tony Nese had Rentals at their mercy, but Daivari with the malfunction at the junction with a clothesline that essentially hits Tony Nese on the apron, and the front face DDT by Uno that left Daivari stunned as Reynolds soared over. Let's again, score over the top rope with the cannonball, and Mark Sterling ordered Beef to attack, but he went for himself, and clothesline by Reynolds led to Beef flying in with the crossbody as Nese then got the pin with the running knee, and that's how the Premier Athletes won. And I was happy with the Premier Athletes defeating the Dark Order, and that's what happened there. Then we had RPG Vince, you know what I'm saying? RPG Vice, PRG Vice with Rocky Romero and Trent Barretta fences Alex Sane and Mance Warner. Let's talk about it, guys, which this was a good match in my opinion. So, card and elbow tie-up by Mance Warner and Rocky Romero to start, but it was the former who got the upper hand with a prince of strikes in the corner, and Alex Sane steps in with a kick to Rocky Romero as Mance Warner then follows up with an attack in the corner, and more bites attacks as Alex Sane and Mance Warner take turns to take a bit out of Rocky Romero's hand, and Trent Barretta tags in and immediately sends down Alex Sane with a clothesline, and Alex Sane has since to fight back and got both RPG Vice members in his Hurricanrana, and both Mance Warner and Alex Sane look for a dive or informer case, in a sense poke to the eye to both Rocky Romero and Trent Barretta that leads to Alex Sane taking off over the top rope with a diving attack, and Alex Sane went for a springboard attack, but Rocky Romero strips him up, which left him alone for the double stomp DDT by RPG Vice, and Alex Sane somehow kicks out at 2, and Trent Barretta keeps Alex Sane as he and Rocky Romero crash him with a repeatedly clothesline, this which was followed by a massive double team move from the near fall, and PRG essentially control of this match till they got sent from a ride with the double Rana by Alex Sane, and followed by the double drop kick, the hot tag to Mance Warner, who cracks both Trent Beretta and Rocco Romero with jobs, and the triple twist win up elbow and pop up headbutt by Mance Warner leads to the running knee on Trent Beretta, and Mance Warner looks for some things big, but Trent Beretta got out of it. Meanwhile, Alex Sane blind tags and Knowens to PRG Vice, and Alex Sane launches himself for the springboard side effect for the near fall, and Trent Beretta hits Alex Sane with the low blow out of the ref's view, which leads to the strong zero double stump combination for the win, and that's how BRG Vice won. And then after the match, Wentz Warner tries to protect Alex Sane from BRG Vice Raf, but a low blow from Trent Beretta puts a stop to that, and they look to hit the strong zero double stomp, but Eddie Kingston and Ortiz run down to war off PRG Vice. Then we had a backstage Nathan Cruz. We got a remark from Nathan Cruz, who looks like he wants to welcome Adam Brooks to Ring of Honor in his own way. Then we had Jack Jemison fences Senam Singh. Senam Singh won this match, guys. Happy to finally see him more and stuff, and happily to see him again. As always, love that guy. Just didn't like him when he was with, Jeff Jarrett and all that. But I'm happy that he's getting used down there in Ring of Honor. In AEW, if he was in AEW, I would be fine with him too. But he's not like one of my favorites. But I'm happy that he's getting used and stuff. But he's not like my favorite. But I'm happy for him, and I like him. Not like him, but I like him though. But anyways, let's talk about it. So Jameson fences Senam Singh. Let's talk about it. So Jemison looks to try his hand in attacking Senam, but then a little as he got hit with a headbutt, the choke slam, but Jemison escapes it, and Senam got back on top with a running attack to the corner as he slaps the chest of his forward twice, and big throw from Senam Singh, who caught Jack Jameson across. I'll say it again. Jack Jemison after a crossbody sense to the scoop slam sends Jemison out of the ring, and Jemison takes advantage by using the middle rope to hit Senam Singh in between. That didn't seem to do much, but Jemison stomps on Senam Singh and hits him with the Tiger Fence press, and a lift from the top rope was interfered by an ascent cutter from Senam Singh, who won this match handily, and that's how Senam Singh defeated Jack Jameson. Jameson. Then we had a video of Deonna Purrazzo. Love her as the Ring of Honor Pure Women's Champion with Coleman. Let's talk about it with Coleman's questions and stuff with the Chop It Up. Let's talk about it, guys. So Coleman asked Deonna Purrazzo how it feels to welcome the Ring of Honor Women's Champion. And Deonna Purrazzo says that she was proud to carry the Ring of Honor Women's title, Pure title. And you know what I'm saying? The women's Pure title through a weird transition period for the company. But being the Pure champion was different beast altogether. And Coleman asked Deonna Purrazzo about her inspiration for being the Pure women's champion. And Deonna answered that Jay Lego was a great inspiration for her. And Coleman discusses how Deonna Purrazzo had a life outside of professional wrestling and wants to know what she thought of fans having opinions about that. And Deonna talked about how she went back to school and helped veterans and first responders with her husband, and she discussed that the internet chatter didn't matter because she was happy about what she did in and out of the ring. And then Coleman praises Deonna for being an amazing wrestler and an amazing person before he asked her what she wanted the women's Pure division to be like in the future. And Deonna says that she wanted people to see the women's Pure division to be seen the same light as the women's division, with her title being defended in main events across Ring of Honor and AEW. Then we had Lacey Lane fences high end. I love high end, man. Let's talk about high end fences. Lennon Lane. Let's talk about it, guys. Lacey Lane fences high end with a code of honor handshake, and this one was off the race, and Lacey had Hyen in an arm twist, but she couldn't manage it. We had a since standoff between the two before the collar and elbow tie up, and Hyen went for a running splash in the corner, but Lane dodged it and question mark kick a since by Lacey, but Hyen reverses it into a pin, and big boot by Hyen didn't lead to much as she was left in a since position in the corner for Lacey's running drop kick and hammerlock by Lacey let once again Lacey left Hyen open for repeatedly chomps to the chest, and Hyen got out of it and went for a pin and low kick for to the face by Lacey got Hyen right onto the button, but wasn't enough, and Lacey had the sleeper on Hyen, who was used the corner to break out of it, and Lacey bounced right back in a sense the hold, but she got powered out of it, and Hyen fight fought back with elbows to the face and the running knee to Lacey, and Hyen ascends Lacey for a back suplex and a 2 count, and Hyen resents Lacey for the knee to the outside of the face and followed by the Falcon Arrow 1-2 no. Then Lacey essentially went for the cover and couldn't get it, and Lacey offends a running shoulder thrust from Hyen as she then capitalized with the kick, and then still wasn't enough for the three, and both women trade headbutts before Lacey rolls through with the twisting grapevines, and then downstairs Yosugi kick and facebuster by Lacey, but Hyen kicks out in time, and Lacey grabs a hold of Hyen's arm but couldn't center for the whip, and Hyen and Lacey trade boots, and but was Hyen who got the better of her with the spear, and Hyen lift her up for the chicken swing headbuster for the three, and that's how Hyen defeated Lacey, Lacey Lane, known as Kated Carter. Then we had this match with Nathan Cruz fences Adam Brooks. Let's talk about it, guys. So Cruz uses his brutish style of submission technicality to keep Brooks grounded, but the Aussie responds with a sense headlock. Look, lots of great chain wrestling, boom, 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 bang, 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 bang. And from Adam Brooks and Cruz use a shoulder tackle from the former quickly to pace mid-air and drop kicks by Brooks since a nice mid-air counter to the Cruz leapfrog, and Cruz, who looked like an there was a big mistake there. I cleaned it up, so sorry about that, guys. That was a big mess. My mom, if you heard her. So yeah, back to where we were at. So yes, guys. So the high-end Hangman Adam Page and Will Ospreay response with a big kick to the face, and Cruz essentially Irish whip was blocked by Brooks, who slid into the corner. And Brooks splashes Cruz with a big boot, but couldn't get the dive out as a kick and stops him. And slingshot back duplex by Cruz only got a two, and Brooks' jaw was cracked by a running snapmare from Cruz, and the rest hold by Cruz wasn't able to be kept in as Brooks fought out of it, and Fisherman Suplex was blocked by Cruz, but the slingshot back suplex from him was turned into a low blower from Brooks. He followed that up with a suicide dive between the ropes, and running kick from Brooks was followed by the sit down powerbomb 1-2 and 2.9 and crossface sense by Brooks, but Cruz rolls it through for a pin ascent and big kick by Brooks as he couldn't capitalize with the face slam from Cruz and clotheslines and Falcon Arrow combo from Nathan Cruz, who couldn't get the three, and Nathan Cruz went to the top rope, but he was met with a kick from Brooks, and Cruz pushed him off, but Brooks bounced back and hits the superplex into a brainbuster combo, sent suicide by Brooks, and the big victory here for the Ring of Honor debuted, and that's how Adam Brooks defeated Nathan Cruz. Then we had a backstage BRG Vice, and BRG Vice, Trent Beretta, and Rocky Romero were seen backstage as they get their sense about how they only sign up to Ring of Honor for easy matches and wins, since that is what Don Callis got for them. And Trent and Rocky talk about that it's not what happens for them tonight, and brought up their issues with Eddie Kingston and Ortiz to get involved after their match. Then a video with Lee Moriarty and Angelo. We got a preview for Lee Moriarty fences Angelo for the Ring of Honor Men's Pure Championship, which we already talked about and all that stuff, guys. You can go back and see that review. Then we had Tommy Billiken fences Commander. Let's talk about it, guys. So Collar and Owl trade up since between Tommy Billiken and Commander to start, but it's the Brett who got the upper hand with the hand shoulder tackle, and Commander escapes Tommy Billiken. Once again, Tommy Billiken and Trish Lock with a moonsault, but he got taken for a ride by Tommy Billiken afterwards, and up and over went Commander as the pace begins to quickly as this stages of the match, and Commander sends Billiken and himself out of the ring with a big crossbody outside the ring, and the two-man brawl it out, and Commander sends Billiken onto the barricade and couldn't connect with the dive onto the outside, and Tommy Billiken responds with a dropkick to Commander. So we're back, guys. So Commander sends Tommy Billiken and himself out of the ring with a big crossbody outside the ring. The two-man brawl it out, and Commander sends Tommy Billiken into the barricade, and he couldn't connect with the dive onto the outside. And Billiken responds with a dropkick to Commander and a clinch grits to Plex, and Billiton keeps momentum in his favor with a snip suplex that the match slows down, and Tommy Billiken favors as he approaches Commander's arm, and Tommy Billiken holds was broken when Commander used his speed to leap from the top, and since hits a nice arm drag and kicks to the midsection, but by Commander leads to the springboard Kosra Test Testras and sends Tommy Billington out of the ring, and Commander sets up Tommy Billington and heads up top for his high risk splash from the ropes to the floor below, and Commander heads to the top rope and connects with the springboard 451 2 no dice as Tommy Billington tries to get up back up, and Commander looks for something big and whips to the ropes, but Commander lifts up and dodges Tommy Billington's pile driver reverses too, and but Tommy Billington finally connects with it and up to the top rope as Billington misses with the big headbutt. Both men stretch to their feet, but was Billington who stretched first with the elbow to the face of Commander. The two exchanged elbows to the face, which either gained the upper hand, and Billington went for the crucifix driver pin, but Commander kicked out at two, and Commander put Tommy Billington on the top rope, but the son of Dynamite Kid uses headbutts to block it, and that couldn't save him as he was left in a stunning position across the top rope for the Hurricanrana driver, and Commander then hits his sinister shooting star press for the victory, and that's how Commander defeated Tommy Billington, Dynamite Kid. Then, then we had the main event with Skyflight taking on Shane Taylor's Promotions. Let's talk about this 8-man tag with Darius and Dante Martin and Scorpio Sky and Matt Seidel taking on Shane Taylor and Anthony Ogogo in the infantry with Charlie Bravo and Sean Dean. So this was the main event of the night and kicks off Bravo's pie facing Dante instead of the Code of Honor, and Bravo connects with a shoulder block as the two in chains arm drags and fast-paced action to start as Scorpio Sky tags in and the captain enters the match for STP as essentially Scorpio from the top flight corner and Dean misses with the running attack, which gives Scorpio the opening to hit the sunset flip pin for a 2 count, and Matt Seidel tags in and blasts the captain with a super kick and setting moonsault by Seidel as Darius and Bravo soon tag in for their teams, and super kicks by Darius sends Ogogo to the floor, but Bravo throws him into the ring post, which leaves Darius at the mercy of the STP assault at ringside, and Ogogo tags in to tee off with some British grade stomps on Darius, followed by a ruthless lariat, and Darius responds. Also again, Darius remains behind enemy line as STP continues to mention this match, and STP name shit. Also again, name shake blast, and Darius with a heavy elbow to the face, but that couldn't keep him down, and knees to the face by Shane Taylor led to a big Izanari and a satanic leg drop. However, Darius kicks out again, and STP had the advantage with Darius at his mercy for the BBC and the very entertaining smack talk from Charlie Bravo. Then Darius turns it around and got the hot hot tag from Matt Sydal, who uses his fast kicks to lead the infantry disordered with big knees to Anthony Ogogo by Matt Sydal, but the crossbody was caught as he connects with the swing out slam and big blow from STP on Matt Sydal, and the Skyflight team breaks up the count and things just break down, but it was Ogogo and Sydal as the legal man, and Sky lifts Ogogo up and hits him with a cinch shot, and Matt Sydal was cleared for takeoff with essentially the Marura and the big pinfall win, and that's how Skyfly defeated Shane Taylor's promotion, and that's what happened there, guys. And then as the show ended, the commentators hinted that STP haven't had gotten some influence on the Martin brothers despite the loss. And I gave this show an 8 out of 10, guys. Another 8 out of 10. They just put on very good shows on Honor Club, I'm telling you guys. And that's all I have to say. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit those notification bells as always, guys. And this is CJD 2006. Once again, this is CJD 2006. So don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit those notification bells as always. And peace out and take care and much love.